Hello, welcome to part 4 of the tutorial creating a MODX Revolution website by MODX Tutorials. In the previous tutorial we created the basics, we installed MODX, we set up a template and we set up some SEO, and what we have is a homepage and a portfolio page. As you can see, they have nice URLs, pretty URLs, the description on top is correctly, there's a title, an automatic navigation and some footer content, and that's about it. Next, I want to create some nice visuals. I'm going to make a really simple design in Photoshop, and then we're going to create HTML CSS for it. So let's get started right away. I start Photoshop and I'm just going to create a really basic layout at first. This is my way of working. Everybody can use your own way, of course, but let me just make something. First, I'm going to create something with a width of 960 and a height of 1200 pixels. And I always like to use some guides to show the width. 960 pixels is a good maximum width to keep for your website, so that every screen with every resolution has the correct view of it. Next, I'm going to increase the image size, the canvas size, to 1280, just to give it a view of a bigger screen. I'm going to create a new layer, and I'm going to add a rectangle item right on top of the main thing. I'm going to give it a color of white. And the background, I'm going to double click, and I'm going to just put a little bit of white, just a little bit darker. I'm going to add it to a swatch, so it adds here. And then I'm just going to use the paint bucket to add the color. And as you can see now, maybe you can see there's a little difference here, but not that much, and I like that. Next is I'm going to add a gradient, or a border. Let me show you, a stroke as it's called. It adds a small border to the edge. Make it 1 pixel inside and choose the color of the frame outside and just make it a little bit darker, something like this. And I'll add 2 swatches again, and that's it. I'm going to add the other. So now if I zoom in, you will see a line here, and that just gives it a little bit of depth. It's always nice to add those lines. Alright, this is 100% the view. Let's add some structure, because this is the background. Let's call this folder background and add these 2 here. Next, I'm going to add a header, and let's just add something. Let's choose a nice font. Let's choose Molengo. It's a really nice font from the Google Fonts directory. I really like it a lot. And I'm going to add just a logo, something just to show that it's a logo. So I'm going to just put here logo, and I'm going to choose a color. Let's choose a nice blue, something like that. Maybe I'm going to add 2 swatches to keep it, and I'm going to float it to the left. I'm going to make it a lot bigger, maybe 72 pixels. And I'm going to put it down, push it down a bit, and 20 pixels to the right. To get those lines, I'm going to add something. I'm going to select this one and give it a width of 20 pixels. Click here on the line, and then you can create a new one, 20 pixels off from the edge. I'm going to do the same thing here, just move it to the left until it's on the line, and add another line. So now we have, if I'm correctly, we should have if you open the information window and measure it, we should have, oh, that's not correct, 922, it should be 920. So probably the right line is wrong. Let me remove it. This should be 20 exactly, and this is 920. And if we now add another line, now it's correct. So this is 20, this is 920, and this is 20 again. So let's just add the center as well. We have 920. If we divided that by 2, we get 460. So let's just get the information again and go 460 like that, 460 width, and add another line. So this is our center. Since we have a margin of 20 here, it's nice to add the same one here. So get a fixed size and get it to 10, and again do the same thing, align, and if you do it normal again and we see this size is 460, so if we get 450, let's get a size of 450 right here, and now we have a nice center line. This is the center and this is a nice padding of 20. So now you can get a little bit of structure in our site. Okay, let's add a nice gradient to the background of our header. So create a new layer, call it background, and I'll create a box here, and I'll just add it from here to here, something like that, and let's give it a nice gradient overlay. For this site I'm going to keep it really clean and clear, so I'm not going to use any bright colors. I'm going to use the same gray here and let it go to white. I think that looks nice if we go like this. Actually, I don't like it. Let's we use a little bit of color. That's probably better. Let's just use the blue we just selected, and select another blue again, and just make it a little bit lighter, something like this. And add it to swatches, so you can get another color blue. So we get a little bit of color, otherwise the site will be really boring. Let's select the logo again and just change this color to white. Alright, let's change the text spacing a bit, and if we now zoom in a bit, we will see that there's a nice blue gradient here with the logo, so that looks nice. We will add another thing on the bottom of the gradient. I'll create another layer above it and I'll call it line, and below here, if I zoom in, I'm going to add a little line. I'm going to select this tool, the pencil tool, make a pencil of 1 pixels. I'm going to select the light color and just go right on the bottom of the edge, draw a small line, and all the way to the right. If you go too far, that's fine, you just select everything and remove that last part. Now I'm going to add another one. Select the darkest color just above the line. Let me zoom in a little bit more. Here you see the lighter line and this is the darker one. I'm selecting the darker one with the color picker. I'm going to darken the color just a little bit more, add it to swatches again, so we have some nice colors to reference. And now I'm going to draw another line just above the other one, a little bit darker. I'm going to move all the way to the left, a bit too far, so let me just remove that. And this creates a nice effect, because we just remove the other part. Sorry. If I zoom in, you will see here there's the, if I remove the help lines, this is the edge of the site, and this is a lighter line, a darker line, and here is the gradient. And it just gives, I don't know if you can see it on the video, but it just creates a nice little bit of depth below this line. So that's a good detail to include. Alright, so that's our header. Let's add another folder within our header called navigation. I'm going to add some text, Molengo again. I'm going to choose white, and I'm going to add the lines. I'm going to choose just the area here, and let's just call this homepage. Homepage in capital letters. Oh, it's a bit too big. Let me decrease the size, maybe 18. And let's make it 30 pixels. That might be a good size. and let's center the text. Right, and let's place the text right above the line. Duplicate this one and move it to the right, and let's call this portfolio, and just move it like that, forward, something like that. Copy it again, and let's call this one contact, and let's duplicate the home page again because this is a bit too little, and add maybe let's say our work, or about us. This is just some example of a page. Of course you can create anything you like. Actually, I think this type is a bit big. Let's decrease it a little bit. Let's make it 24 pixels. So 24, 24, and 24 pixels. Let's look at the alignment. If it's good, I'm going to move the contact button more to the right until the line there, as you can see there. Portfolio should be just a normal distance from contact. Homepage should be there. About us, something like that. And the homepage just about there. That looks good. Now we have, I just widen the screen a little bit. Oh, let me just show you. We have this, a nice logo, and it's basic navigation. Let's add a current nav background, so you can see where you are at the moment. I'm going to assume we are on the home page. I'm going to add a layer below the home page, call it background. And I'm going to select a rectangle, color white. I'm just going to draw a rectangle, something like that, around the home page. It has the gradient automatically added. I'm going to remove that one, and I'm going to change the color of the home page to the blue we had selected, the first blue. And if I move this 1 pixel down, we have a nice tab for the home page. Okay, let's keep it at that for now. This is the navigation. Let's save our file on the desktop. I'm going to call it my site PSD, and there it is. Next we're going to add some main content. I'm going to add a line here just to show me where to start. I'd like a slider on the home page, so let's add an area for that. First I'm going to add a folder here called main, and in that folder I'm going to add a folder called slider. Create a layer, and then I'm adding let's choose the color a little bit, the off-white we selected from the edges, and I'm going to just drag an area here, and maybe this high, something like that. Remove the gradient. So now if I zoom out, you can see I have the same color as oh, actually it's too dark. Let's choose this color, like the edges, and add that one to swatches. And as you can see now, I have this area now for the slider. I'm going to add a gradient, a stroke. Sorry, not a gradient. And now I'm going to choose the dark color again. Give it 1 pixels on the inside. And now the slider has a little line here as well, as you can see. So that looks nice. Let's add some picture. I'm going to go to, I like this website a lot, about movies, the moviedb.org, because I love movies, and I'm just going to click, what do we like? I like Iron Man. So let's go to Iron Man. Yes. Actually, I like Iron Man 2 better. And let's go to posters. Let's go to backdrops. And there we have some nice pictures. I'm going to choose this one. Copy the image. Go to Photoshop. Create a new layer on the slider. And just make the image a little bit smaller because this is really big. Let's see. Let's just move it like this. I'm gonna create an image there, and we'll have some text here. I want the image to be exactly the width of half of the page, or actually the edge here, because that will be our guiding line. So that's a nice area. Make it a little bit bigger. And now I'm going to select this area of the screen, hold Ctrl and select this one, the how do you say it, the vector mask of the slider area here. So you select the whole thing, Ctrl select, click on it, you see here the selection, and now hold Ctrl and let's see, what was it again? And once you have that one selected, the whole thing, Control select, hold the Alt key, and then you can remove some part of it. So then click on this line, hold it, and select the outer rim. And now you have just this part selected. And if you now click on the image of Iron Man and click on this button, you will get a nice selection of it. Remove the lines, you can see it looks kind of good. But there's one problem now. As you can see, this line, this stroke, does not go on here. So we're going to copy the style and add this to this one. And now it will have the same stroke, as you can see. So that's our slider image. Let's add some text on the slider. Select the text, include the help lines. Choose a nice color, almost black, and Molengo again, and we're gonna select a size of 16 pixels and just add some text here. And first I'm gonna add just some random text, and now I'm gonna go to the website and I'm gonna go to Lorem Ipsum. Just gonna Google that one. This is a nice website to generate some Latin words, some Latin dummy text. So select that text, and then you can add that here, and then you have some nice filling to use for your slider. Just remove any text that's too much. I'm gonna add, so that's that. I'm gonna add a title. This is a nice title. I like to use it like that. Do what you want, of course. And I'm gonna, for titles, gonna use 30 pixels, well, a little bit less, 24 pixels. And I'm gonna use the blue again. Move it up a little bit, something like that. And there we have a nice slider using the center of the page as a divider. Alright, so that's a slider. Our slider will need some navigation, of course. So let's add a folder above the title here called slider nav. And for the navigation I like to just use some simple cubes as buttons. So let's add that. Click on a square, select color white, and just add a nice cube. Hold shift so that it stays square, and just add, well, maybe something like this. Move it a little bit so that it looks nicely evenly divided, and copy this layer, duplicate it, and move it to the right a few times, and do that. Select both of them, duplicate layer, and do the same thing, and maybe one more, maybe 5 slides on a slider. That's nice. And just to show that one of them is active, we're going to make one of them blue, something like that. And to show if you hover above one slider, I'm going to add a stroke of the blue again, of 2 pixels actually inside. So there you are. And when the mouse over, it will just be a little bit smaller, so that's nice. Okay, that's our navigation for the slider. We're also going to need a link, of course. If this is nice information and somebody wants to know more, there should be a link here. So I'm going to add a nice folder again, slider button, create another layer, add another square, and just drag a little square right about here, maybe this wide. For color, I'm going to use a gradient. I'm going to use the default gradient we already used, and I'm going to add a stroke. Use the dark line again, the dark gray, 1 pixels inside. Click OK. If you see here, there's a nice button now here. Let's move it a bit to the right. Let's open the help lines, something like that. And let's add a little text on the button. Click on text, Molengo, let's use 16. Select the color blue, and just add the title here. Center the text, read more, something like that. It's too big, it should be 16. Something like that, move it down. So, that looks nice. Let's copy these two layers so we can create a hover state. I'm going to put these layers to a folder called hover. And I'm going to make the text white, and the gradient is going to be the blue color to the lighter blue color, and the stroke is going to be the dark blue again. So now we have a nice hover state. So if you disable the hover folder, you will see the change of the state. So that looks good. Let's keep it like this for now. So this is more natural. Okay, so this is a basic of our page. I'm going to copy this text, this content, because we're going to create a nice content field. Close the slider and add below it another folder called main content. And here I'm going to add the help lines again. Just add some text. I already copied the content of the slider, so this is a nice text area. So maybe like that. And duplicate the whole thing and move it to the right. So now we have two text fields. Let's check that it's correctly aligned. Yes, it is. So now we have two areas. Actually, it doesn't really look nice to me. Let's move these two down. Create another one above it. And let's just stretch this all the way to here. And now it has a nice feeling to it, I think. So, this is the basic layout of our home page. All we need now is a footer. Let's close this one and let's add above background another folder called footer. Create a new layer. Get the square again. Let's add something like this, maybe this high. For gradients, use the blue again, so the dark blue, to the light blue, and give it a stroke of the. Actually, we don't need a stroke. This here. Okay. Let's see how that looks. It looks good. This is a footer, the logo. Yeah, I'm quite happy with this for now. Let's just add some dummy text to the footer. Add the help lines again. Just drag some text here. Footer title. and let's copy some of the lorem ipsum. And let's just give the color white, something like that. Okay, this is our basic design. It kind of looks good. It's not really that difficult, but this is the basic structure of our website. So let's start by creating this in our template.